What happens when the man who built the bakery from scratch ends up behind the register? And here's something he never should have. Owen Callen's hands smelled like yeast and coffee grounds for the first 5 years of his life's work. He started with a food truck and ended up with 9 bustling bakery cafes scattered across 3 cities. The company grew fast. Too fast, maybe. Lately, customer reviews had dipped and employee turnover at the downtown branch had spiked. Emails from HR were vague. The district manager gave polite answers but nothing concrete. Owen hated guessing, so he decided to show up himself. He shaved his beard, dyed his hair a dull brown, wore thick glasses, and used a prosthetic tooth cap to close his signature gap. No one at this store had ever met him. Most employees had only seen the company's slick promo videos or training manuals. The stores had grown too fast for him to build personal relationships. He clocked in using a fake name, Illy, and started a 3-day crash course as a trainee at the downtown bakery. The store was understaffed. According to the assistant manager, 2 baristas had quit last week after back-to-back 12-hour shifts. They couldn't handle the pace, the manager, Devin, had said with a shrug. This generation's soft. Owen didn't say much. He just nodded and kept scrubbing trays. By day 2, he was handling the register. The line was long and the morning rush was the usual chaos: muffins, lattes, breakfast sandwiches flying out the door. Owen moved through it all, smiling, scanning, bagging. It was stressful, but it felt good. Real. A few minutes after the rush, while wiping down the counter, Owen glanced toward the kitchen and saw a young man struggling to carry a pan of croissants. He walked slowly, one hand shaking slightly, lips pressed tight like he was trying not to draw attention. "Charlie," Devin barked from behind the prep counter. "Come on, man, we don't have all day." Owen turned his head. The kid, maybe 19, 20, flinched and picked up the pace. Devin scoffed. "You move like molasses, bro, seriously." "I could train a turtle to be faster." Charlie didn't say anything. He lowered his eyes and kept moving. Owen's jaw clenched. He waited a beat, then walked back to the kitchen. "Hey," Owen said gently. "You good?" Charlie gave a small nod but didn't look up. "Yeah, sorry. Just a little stiff today. You want to take a breather? I'll cover for you." Before Charlie could answer, Devin stepped in. "Nah, he's fine. He always says that. Just needs to move his ass." Owen stared at Devin. Something about the way he said it wasn't just impatience. It was mean. Devin looked at Owen and laughed. "You'll get used to him. He's got, I don't know, some kind of nerve deal. Ain't my business, long as he doesn't break anything." Owen didn't laugh. "What's your name again?" Devin asked, squinting. "Illy," Owen said, keeping his voice steady. "I'm just here to learn." Devin walked off, mumbling something under his breath. Owen turned back to Charlie. "You sure you're all right?" Charlie finally looked up. "Yeah, I got mild cerebral palsy. It's mostly in my right side, makes things slow sometimes, but I've been here 6 months. I usually keep up." Owen nodded slowly. "You've been working hard." Charlie gave a half smile. "Try to. Some days are harder." Owen watched him walk away, gripping the edge of a tray to steady himself. He felt something heavy settle in his chest. He thought about the years he spent loading his own truck at 5 in the morning, the hours he'd put in, the people who helped him get there, the kindness that had kept him going, and then he thought about Devin. That night, Owen sat in his truck outside the store for a long time before driving home. He watched the last of the employees leave, Charlie among them, his limp more noticeable at the end of the shift. Owen didn't sleep much. He kept replaying that moment in the kitchen. He'd built this company to be better than that. Tomorrow, he'd find out who else was enabling this. Owen arrived 20 minutes before the morning shift. The sky was still pale, and the streets were quiet except for the low rattle of buses starting their routes. He parked 2 blocks away and walked the rest of the distance. When he reached the back entrance of the bakery, the only person there was Rosa, the store's lead baker, tugging open the delivery door with both hands. She glanced over, gave a quick nod. "You're early." "Wanted to see how things get started," Owen said, stepping in to help without waiting. He grabbed the edge of the door and held it as she pulled 2 crates of flour through. She exhaled, brushing a loose strand of hair out of her eyes. "You'll regret that by 8 o'clock. "I've got strong regrets already," Owen said with a dry grin. Rosa chuckled once short and low. "Then you're learning." Inside, the prep area already smelled of butter and warm dough. The ovens were running and a fan hummed in the corner. Rosa moved through her routine like someone who knew the rhythm so well she didn't need to think. "Does Devin help with prep?" Owen asked as he restocked the fridge. Rosa didn't answer right away. She slid a tray of scones into the oven, set a timer, then finally said, "He says that's not his job." "He say what is?" "Keeping things moving." She glanced at him. "Which usually means making sure we're not talking too long or taking too long to breathe." Owen kept his eyes on the fridge shelf. "How long you been here?" "Almost 2 years. I was at the second location before this one opened. They moved me here when they needed someone who could run the kitchen." "You like it?" Rosa hesitated. "I love baking, love being good at it, but here," she shrugged. "Depends on the day." He didn't press further. She was giving him what she could. By 6:15, the rest of the morning crew filtered in. Charlie arrived last, limping slightly more than the day before. He moved straight to the sink and started prepping the dish station. No one said much. Everyone was already working. The rush started right on time. By 7:30, the line was out the door. Owen worked the register again, keeping pace, keeping calm. Behind him, Devin barked orders like he was calling plays in a football game, loud, fast, and without patience. "Refill the drip. Why is there no drip ready? Where are the damn sandwich labels? Move faster, Sam. People are staring." By 8, a cup shattered behind the counter when Sam, a barista no older than 21, dropped it while spinning to grab a lid. Devin clapped his hands twice, sharp. "Come on, man. You break one more thing and it's coming out of your check." Sam froze, eyes wide. "It slipped. I'm sorry." "That's not my problem. You're not new. Act like it." Owen didn't speak, not yet. He just watched and listened. 10 minutes later, a customer in a navy trench coat stepped up to the counter where Owen stood. Middle-aged, impatient posture. He pointed behind Owen. "That kid, what's wrong with him?" Owen glanced back. Charlie was carrying a tray of empty cups to the bin, moving carefully. "Nothing's wrong." "He's doing his job," the man scoffed. "He's walking like he's underwater. This place used to run like a machine." Owen's hands tightened on the register. Devin stepped up next to him, having overheard. "We're working on it, sir." The man leaned in. "You should be hiring people who can actually keep up." Before Owen could say a word, Devin nodded. "Trust me, I've been telling corporate that for months." Owen turned his head slowly to face him. Devin didn't flinch. "We've got a lot of charity cases lately. Makes it hard to keep standards." The customer laughed once. "Good luck with that." Owen said nothing, not yet. After the rush, Owen pulled Charlie aside near the walk-in. The kid looked pale, his shirt clinging to his back with sweat. "You need a minute?" Owen asked. Charlie shook his head. "I'm okay. You sure?" "I'm used to it. This is actually a pretty normal day." Owen didn't look away. "What happened with that guy at the counter? Did you hear him?" Charlie nodded once. "People say stuff. Doesn't bother me much anymore." "I heard Devin agree with him." Charlie looked down. "Yeah, he does that sometimes." "How often?" Charlie hesitated. "Enough that I don't ask for help anymore." Owen leaned against the wall. "That's not okay." Charlie gave him a tired smile. "It's just work." Owen watched him walk away again, this time slower. By late morning, Owen had seen enough. He slipped out during a lull and returned an hour later in a pressed button-down, his natural hair color restored, glasses gone. When he walked through the front door at 11:40, the noise dropped. Devin stood behind the counter, leaning against the wall with his phone in his hand. He looked up, confused. "Can I help you?" Owen stepped forward. "Yeah, you can put your phone down." Devin blinked. "Sorry, who are you?" "Your boss," Owen said simply. "Owen Callen." The room fell silent. Rosa froze mid-roll. Sam nearly dropped a cup. Devin straightened. "Wait, what? I've been working here for 2 days. You've had no idea that's a problem." Devin laughed once nervously. Okay, wait, if this is about earlier, it's about everything, Owen cut in. The way you treat your team. The way you talk to customers. The way you talk about people behind their backs. Devin opened his mouth, but Owen kept going. I heard you agree with someone who insulted an employee with a disability. I watched you berate staff for accidents. I saw you do the bare minimum while others covered everything. You have no idea what leadership looks like. Devin's face turned red. You're blowing this out of proportion. Am I? Owen stepped forward. You said this job wasn't your business. Let me make it clear it no longer is. Devin blinked. What? You're done. Effective immediately. You can collect your final check from HR by end of day. You can't just, I can, and I just did. Devin looked around. No one said a word, not Rosa, not Sam, not Charlie. He scoffed, grabbed his jacket from the hook, and walked out without another word. Owen turned back to the room. Everyone was still frozen in place. I owe all of you an apology, he said. For letting things get this bad without knowing. That changes now. He looked at Charlie. You never should have had to put up with this. You've been doing your job better than most, and that's going to be recognized. Charlie looked stunned, then nodded once, eyes wet. Owen turned to Rosa. You've been keeping this place running without support. Starting tomorrow, you'll have final say on kitchen operations until we find a proper manager who respects the work. Rosa gave a single nod. Understood. Owen looked at the team again. I'll be back tomorrow and the day after, until this place looks the way it should. You've carried this store too long. It's time someone carried you for a change. No one clapped. No one cheered, but slowly people started moving again back to work, with a little more air in their lungs, and Owen stayed, not at a register, not in an office, just there. Where he should have been all along. Owen arrived again the next morning, this time in plain clothes but without disguise. No more fake names, no more distance. The staff already knew who he was, and though the tension lingered, it had shifted. A few employees glanced up when he stepped through the back door just before sunrise. Rosa was already slicing chilled butter into the scone dough. She didn't stop working when she saw him, but her nod was sharper than the day before, more certain. Owen nodded back silently and pulled on an apron. He hadn't come to observe, he came to stand beside them. At 6:30, he quietly gathered the team in the back before the storefront opened. They stood in a half circle near the dish station. The scent of cinnamon rolls baking filled the air, but no one talked. The room felt like it was holding its breath. I want to say something before we start, Owen said. What happened yesterday, what I saw wasn't a one-off, it was a pattern. And it wasn't fair to any of you. He looked at each of them one by one and stopped on Sam, who was holding a mop with both hands. You okay? Sam nodded hesitantly. Yeah, just didn't expect, all of that. You shouldn't have to expect it, Owen said. No one should come to work wondering how much disrespect they'll have to take before lunch. He turned toward Rosa and Charlie. We're shuffling schedules around temporarily. I've pulled in 2 people from the North Side location to help cover here for the next 4 days. That gives us flexibility. Rosa, you'll manage the kitchen and prep. Sam, you're going to be on register training with me today. Charlie, front of house organization. I want you telling us what needs fixing and how to fix it. Charlie's brows lifted slightly. Me, you've been here long enough to know what's broken. I want you to walk me through every piece of it. Charlie gave a small nod but didn't speak. All right, Owen said, clapping his hands once. Let's get started. The day moved fast. Orders piled up fast, and though the extra help from Northside arrived just after 7, it was still tight. But the difference was immediate. No shouting, no under-the-breath comments, no one stepping over each other to dodge blame. At 8:45, Owen was bagging a sandwich when he noticed a customer at the end of the counter raise their hand and wave impatiently. She was in her late 30s, dressed sharp, phone tucked between shoulder and ear. Excuse me, she said, cutting across the line. Is anyone going to wipe this table down? I've been waiting 10 minutes. Charlie, who was clearing empty trays nearby, moved toward her. I can get that right now, he said, grabbing a cloth from under the register. The woman frowned. Could you not limp so much? I'm already late. The words landed like a slap. Owen's head snapped up. Charlie froze. For a second, no one moved. Owen stepped around the counter and walked straight to the woman. "You need to leave," he said. "What?" "This isn't a conversation. You're done here." She looked around, laughing nervously. "You can't be serious. I'm the owner, and I'm very serious. We don't serve people who talk to others like that." "I didn't mean, you said what you meant, and now you can find your coffee somewhere else." She opened her mouth again, then closed it when she realized no one, not one employee, was disagreeing. She grabbed her purse and walked out, muttering under her breath. As the door shut behind her, Owen turned to Charlie, who hadn't moved. His expression was unreadable, but the cloth in his hand was balled into a tight fist. "You all right?" Owen asked, quieter this time. Charlie gave a small nod. "Yeah, just, thank you. You shouldn't have to hear that, not here, not anywhere." Charlie nodded again, eyes locked on the floor, then slowly walked toward the table and wiped it down without another word. Later that afternoon, after the lunch rush eased, Owen sat with Rosa at the back prep table, a notebook open between them. Flour dusted the corners of the page. "Walk me through the inventory flow," he said. "From order to delivery." Rosa leaned back slightly. "We order on Wednesdays. It's supposed to arrive by Friday, but lately it's been Monday. Sometimes Tuesday. That throws off pastry rotation, especially if we run low on butter or eggs. Who's in charge of placing orders? At this store, Devin was. Who's been doing it the last few weeks? I have. Otherwise, we'd be out of basics. You weren't officially assigned that, though." "I didn't wait for permission," she said, folding her arms. "I just fixed it." Owen wrote something down. "You want to keep handling it?" "I do," Rosa said, "but I want it formal. And I want the authority to reject shipments if they're late. Right now, we just take what we get. You'll have it." She nodded once and returned to sorting ingredients. No thanks, no smile, just a quiet, practical agreement. By 4, the energy in the store had shifted, enough to be noticed. Customers moved through the line a little smoother. No raised voices, no rolled eyes, just people doing their jobs. Owen sat at a corner table for a few minutes around 4:30, letting the noise settle. Sam walked by with a stack of clean trays and paused. "You really meant what you said about getting this place back on track." "I don't say things I don't mean." Sam glanced toward the espresso machine. "It's just weird, having someone actually fix things." Owen folded his arms. "It shouldn't be." Sam nodded and kept walking. At closing, after the last customer left and the door was locked, Owen gathered the team again near the dish station. "Tomorrow, same plan. We keep stabilizing. I'll be here all day again. Anyone have questions before we wrap?" Charlie raised a hand slightly. "What happens after this week?" Owen looked at him. "We bring in a new manager, someone who earns your trust, but until then I'll be here. And once that person's hired, I'm still not disappearing." Rosa added, "And if the next one doesn't work out, they'll be gone faster than the last one," Owen said. "You've got my word." No one clapped, no one cheered. But they stayed a little longer than usual after the doors were locked, putting chairs up slowly, chatting between wiping tables. The kind of quiet that comes when people aren't rushing to escape. Owen stayed too, not watching, not managing, just cleaning with them, exactly where he needed to be. Friday came with steady rain and a cold wind that slipped through the door each time it opened. It was the 5th day Owen had worked inside the downtown bakery, and for the first time all week, no one looked twice when he walked in. He wasn't a surprise anymore, just part of the team. Rosa was already setting up the prep station, sleeves rolled to her elbows, humming under her breath. Sam was calibrating the espresso machine with quiet focus. Charlie was folding pastry boxes near the register, his hand moving with practiced care. The 2 baristas sent in from Northside had settled into a rhythm. Everyone looked tired, but less guarded. At 7, Owen stepped into the back office. It still smelled faintly of burnt coffee and old toner. The desk was cluttered with old shift schedules and unopened vendor envelopes. He opened the laptop and logged in to begin the hiring review. The regional HR rep had sent over 3 manager candidates who'd been interviewed weeks earlier, names that Devon had stalled on without explanation. He read through their files carefully, then went back through the store's incident logs. Some had never been filed. He only saw them because Rosa had quietly kept handwritten notes in a binder under the desk. They detailed missing inventory, ignored maintenance requests, and schedule gaps that had forced employees to work beyond acceptable limits. Nothing in the official records reflected any of it. Owen shut the laptop and walked out to the floor. The store was filling with customers. A woman with 2 small kids was waving toward the pastry case. Charlie knelt to speak to them at eye level, pointing toward the cinnamon rolls. The younger one laughed and clapped. Owen watched the moment unfold without stepping in. It was subtle, but the atmosphere was changing. People lingered longer. Conversations at tables had returned. The staff moved like they weren't bracing for something to go wrong. At 9:30, he called Rosa into the office. "You've kept this place running without being asked to. You took over ordering, tracked vendor issues, and trained new hires without ever being given the title." Rosa leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. "I did what needed doing." "You did more than that. I want to offer you the store manager position, officially." She didn't respond right away. Her expression didn't change. "You'd have full authority over scheduling, hiring decisions, inventory control, and vendor contracts within budget." "You'd report directly to me." Rosa adjusted her stance. "What about pay?" 22% bump from your current rate, plus monthly performance bonuses if operational targets are met." "What if I say no? I'll understand, but I hope you don't. You've already been doing the job." "I just want to pay you for it." Rosa studied him for a long second, then nodded once. "I'll take it, but I pick my assistant. Deal." She turned and walked back toward the kitchen without another word. By 11, Owen had cleared the schedule for a quick staff meeting. They gathered near the front window, where the rain had finally started to lighten. The street outside glistened, and the usual noise of midday traffic hummed in the background. Rosa stood next to him as he addressed the team. As of today, Rosa is the new store manager. She'll be handling everything from operations to hiring. I'll still be involved, but she's the one leading this store now. A few surprised glances passed between the team, but no one looked disappointed. Charlie gave Rosa a quick nod. Sam grinned. "I'm also implementing a reporting system for any mistreatment or policy violations that bypasses the district layer," Owen continued. "Every person here deserves to feel safe and respected. If that breaks down again, I want to hear it directly." He paused to make sure everyone was listening. "There's something else." He looked at Charlie. "Starting next week, we're adjusting your duties. You'll be moving into a guest experience role, greeting customers, managing seating flow, and coordinating with pickup orders. You'll set your own pace, no heavy lifting. No scrambling between stations." Charlie blinked. "Really, you've already been doing half of it. I just want to give you the time and space to do it right." Charlie's hands rubbed together once, like he wasn't sure what to do with them. "Thanks." Owen nodded. "No thanks needed." "You've earned it." After the meeting dispersed, Owen stayed near the front, wiping down the high top counter. A woman in her 60s approached, umbrella dripping on the floor beside her. "You're the owner, right?" she asked, voice soft but direct. "I am. I've lived 2 blocks from here for 20 years. This place used to feel tense. Something shifted this week. I don't know what you did, but keep doing it." Owen gave her a short nod. "Thanks for noticing. We're working on it." She smiled and walked to the counter to order. At closing, the team moved through their routines with quiet efficiency. The rain had stopped. The last customer left just before 6. Chairs went up, counters were wiped, lights dimmed. Rosa pulled Owen aside as he was washing out the drip trays. "You're not coming in tomorrow, are you?" "I wasn't planning to." "Good. We've got it." Owen dried his hands and looked around the store. The space no longer felt like it was bracing for collapse. It felt like it was breathing again. "You'll call if something comes up. We'll handle it," she said. "You just check the reports." He nodded, then reached into his coat pocket and handed her a small key. "This opens the safe drawer. You'll need it for vendor pickups." Rosa took it, turned it once between her fingers, then slipped it into her apron pocket. "I'll lock up," she said. Owen stepped out into the night air. The sidewalk was slick but quiet. The traffic had thinned, and the streetlights cast long reflections on the pavement. He didn't look back at the store as he walked away. He didn't need to. Inside, the team finished their closing checklist, turned off the lights, and locked the door behind them. No one stayed late. No one left in silence. There were small conversations, plans for dinner, a few laughs. The bakery door shut with a soft click. And for the first time in a long while, it stayed shut for the right reasons.